Matterhorn is the central piece of the book. It's a peak.
It is the mountains of Vietnam. These soldiers are charged with capturing and holding against the North Vietnamese army.
All the trees had been cut down. The jungle was completely brown.
They capture ground and they retreat, and then they capture it again, all at the loss of their lives. It becomes a symbol of the wasted efforts. Mellis is a young Marine lieutenant who comes to Vietnam with the idea that this is going to be a career.
He expected that he would go in and he would call the shots and everybody would follow and listen.
He's going to move up the ranks and gain prestige.
And all of a sudden he ends up being out in combat, in the war zone, and having all these people look up to him for decisions.
And he quickly realizes that life on the ground for the soldiers is very, very different from what he anticipated back in the world.
This is a boy with absolutely enormous responsibility on his shoulders.
The commanders, if they had any experience at all, they'd be 21, 22 years old. But the new kids on the ground fighting the battle were 18, 19 years old. Skinny kids who were just out of boot camp and given weapons and these impossible missions to fight in the jungle.
In everything they did, there was this undertone of racial inequalities and tensions.
When they're not in combat, when they're back at the base or they're in a situation where their lives aren't immediately threatened, they kind of get back and revert to their little factions of society that they represent. And then you have the commanders back at the base who have no idea what these circumstances are like to actually live in.
The command centers on the ground are so absolutely removed from the actual battle that's happening.
There's a great disconnect between what the commanders think the soldiers on the ground can accomplish and what those soldiers know they actually can do.
And the kind of decisions that are made that are so governed by who stands to get a medal, who stands to get a promotion, rather than who's about to die.
The author, Karl Marlantes, really knew what he was writing about and really had been there.
At that time I was in college, and guys would come home on their leaves and they would talk about so many things in the book, and I thought I understood.
Cold fog and the leeches and the insects, the stinging ants, the snakes.
And they'd talk about their feet being constantly in swamps and marshes and wet.
And it's all these visceral experiences that the soldiers experienced that the author, Marlantes, relates in the book.
You realized you didn't get it at all. When you read the book, it was emotion and situation and travesty.
I love this book.
I love this book, and I'm never going to miss another Veterans Day without calling anyone I know who served and thank them for what they did for us.